Safe to say, I think I'm in the presence of royalty over here, not just with, of course, the legend, but also Tal Inbar on closed circuit. How are you two doing today?
Good.
Very excited.
Very
Thank you.
excited. So, knowing that this deals with some pretty, let's just say, haunting things that happened, were there certain things within the documentary that you had to omit due to maybe graphic imagery?
To add graphic imagery?
I know to like exclude
To
anything.
exclude,
Yeah.
definitely, yes. Some things were too gory that I felt it takes out the attention of the story of what we're trying to give to the audience to feel and to expose to. So we had to blur it a little bit or maybe cut out some things that we felt I don't know if it's the right way to use like pornographic a little
They
bit.
call it that, yeah.
Because we were really
Right.
trying not to use the harsh images as much as we can because it is harsh. So.
Now, speaking of which, what was about the subject, and especially for Nancy as a producer, as a director and a producer, what was it that made you two say, I have to tell this story, and as soon as I possibly can, I'm going to do this thing?
That's a really nice question because this is how I seduced Nancy to join. So maybe Nancy has if you remember how
Okay,
you
yes,
were
I
like,
do. Tal sent me an email out of the blue. I didn't know her. She didn't know me, and I do get a lot of emails of here's a project I'm working on, and would you look at it? Would you consider it? And something about what she wrote about that particular event, and it happened to be that I was in Israel on that very night, but I was in a restaurant in Jerusalem, and this happened in Tel Aviv, and I almost felt like I was in this parallel universe, and it was the closest I ever would want to experience a terror attack. And then she had made a student film, and she shared some of the clips with me, and I said, let's talk. So because I had been there, and it was the day after my birthday, and in the film there's a guy celebrating the day after his birthday, I just felt so many parallels. And it spoke to me also because in this country, there's so much more terror. I mean, today is the anniversary, a year ago was Colleyville, Texas, where where the terrorists came in. So it's not something that's just Israel, and it's also a very human, personal story, talking about the trauma that everybody experienced.
I feel it's parallel to a lot of us, and it's really hard to ignore. So it's like it grabs you.
Oh, it definitely seems
Yeah.
very gripping. Now, speaking of which, Tal, films change a lot, not just from pre-production, production, but especially from shooting to editing. Can you talk about how much the film changed from those two aspects? Because I can imagine with a documentary, lots of things change. So talk about the editing process especially.
The editing process is a major part in filmmaking, especially in documentary. So it's kind of like co-directing. My editor, my wonderful editor, Sarona, she made magic also with giving me the space to think and to contemplate about what we're trying to do and to try new things. And she's very innovative and very skilled. So if you have the chance to collaborate with her one day,
Yes,
I
she's
really,
wonderful.
she's wonderful.
Now, speaking of which, things unfortunately tend to go wrong, especially when on set filming or even editing. Was there a particular shot that you wanted to get so bad, but unfortunately, due to maybe a time constraint or due to the editing process, they just couldn't afford to get that shot in there?
So it's mostly because it's security camera footage. It's where I couldn't put my hands on their archives from the inside in the Sarona Market. There is inside and outside. But then it led to collaborate with the wonderful animation studio who did also Walsud Bashir, with David Polonsky and Nitzan and Roy Nitzan, and they were amazing, and they helped us from like the limits to grow and to make something very innovative, very moving, like cinema. So this is the difference when like storytelling can change a lot.
And I think that's one of the issues with documentary filmmaking is we need these creative tools because you do have those gaping holes where you do not have actual footage or the interviews, and you want to stay true to the story because you feel obligated to keep the authenticity. And so, I think that the skills of filmmakers these days has really, really grown with the animation, with being able to keep people involved in the story, but and filling those gaps. So our team was good at that.
Now, speaking of which, since your name is attached to arguably, if not the greatest filmmaker today, is there any time, like with any project really, that you feel your brother's shadow constantly cast over you, or you feel confident as a producer to say, no, I don't need my brother's name. I can do this.
You know, it's funny. The very first film that I made was Above and Beyond, and it was the story of some 1948 American World War II pilots that after they flew and fought, you know, for the good old United States of America, they went and smuggled airplanes to Israel and helped Israel in their War of Independence. And my brother actually said to me, "Hey, I've got this, and do you want? I've got this great composer." And I was like, "I'm good." And he was like, "What?" So every time, he was really sweet. He was so proud of me.
Nice.
So it was so important for me to be independent because, you know, it is a very big shadow and you have to grapple with it in lots of ways in your life, and you can never let it define who you are. You can love it, but it can't define your life. You have to find your own footing. So I'm learning, you know, I'm old enough now, I'm figuring it out. I think I'm figuring it out.
I'll vouch for
You've
Nancy.
definitely figured it out, it
Wow.
seems.
She is in every layer of the filmmaking, like in the production, and even after, just like being there to support and reading the subtitles to fix everything.
Oh my God, I corrected grammar on the subtitles.
She
I
is
swear.
the producer, super producer that I've ever dreamt. Really.
I got a little crazy because, you know, they were doing subtitles. They were, you know, doing it in Israel. And I was like, guys, you know, there's this saying, when in doubt, leave it out. If there's a comma, because they were like, so I got a little crazy with just, you know, making sure that it really looked professional. But it actually was very professional before I got my hands on it. So I'm not going to take credit.
She checked, like, without Nancy, really, there was not film. It was like really.
Love fest.
And I was gonna, speaking of which, the moment that you heard Nancy say, yeah, I got your back and I'll help you produce this, what's the reaction like that? Because I can imagine mine must have been blown out of your eye sockets.
Anxiety attack.
But I'm so
Then
nice.
the drink, I was living at my dad's, you know, the pandemic. I was back to living with my parents, talking to Nancy Spielberg in Zoom. I was blown away by the situation.
You know, we're all very down to earth. The Spieleys are really down to earth people. You know, people
Nice.
imagine that there is this giant image, but we're all very Hamish. We're very down to earth. We are interested in the craft. We're interested in storytelling. We're interested in collaboration. And I think that's what makes good filmmakers. And that's probably one of the big lessons I learned from my brother is you surround yourself by good people and then you listen to them. You don't always have to listen to them, but you listen to them because, you know, there's a lot of good in that collaboration.
I'm gonna say filmmaking is always collaborative. I just want to say, dude, too, congratulations on everything. Congratulations to your brother on The Fablemans and Tal. I can't wait for everybody's. It seems like it's gonna be a haunting but also very powerful documentary. Congratulations, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you more than anything
Oh my
else.
God.
And it's a
I love TV. Oh, I mean, Flick.